So it's time to start the project, and so that means I get to harp again on setting your project. And I know that you probably think I'm overreacting about this, but this is extremely important. So again, if you don't remember how to do that, file, set project. Now, if you do this after you've already opened a file, it doesn't matter. You've done it wrong, right? If you do it after you've opened the file, Maya's already opened that file in a different project, right? So before you open a file with a brand new scene, right, nothing in it, file, set project, and if you're unsure, this is what you need to do. We're going to set it to Rocket. Set. Now, let's say you are curious if you've already set your project. You're not 100% sure. You think you maybe have, but you can't remember. If you go out to this home here, it should tell you which is your current project. It's Rocket. Right? And you can also set the project here if it's in something else, or if it's one of the projects you've used recently, you may be able to find it here. But you want to do this before you open a file. In this project, this is the number one issue people have. And it may seem like a small thing, but not doing this will break all of your textures, it will break all of your materials, and then it'll leave you sitting there with a lot of cleanup to do because you just forgot to set your file or just neglected setting your file from the very beginning. So as long as our file is set to Rocket, wherever you've extracted Rocket to, I can go to Open, and I'm going to start with my environment here, and just so we can get a good look at this and what it is we're dealing with. So what we have is a rocket ship here, and this rocket ship is on a terrain, and this terrain actually happens to be a scan of the surface of the moon from the Apollo 15 landing. And so I was really excited making this, made all the pieces for it, right? But in the process of doing that, I neglected naming anything. And so although that may seem like a small issue right now, and you'll just remember Pr2 is that ring around the window trim. Even though all of that is right now not that hard for me to juggle. I can just click it and see what it is, right? When I have hundreds, if not thousands, of models in this scene or objects in this scene, it can make a scene unusable. So I've intentionally left this messy to give you a chance to practice renaming things. So let's start with the terrain here. I'm just gonna call this ground, right? And so I can rename that just by double clicking on the file in the outliner. Let's try with something else. Let's try this. This is the ship door, right? So double click in here in the outliner, ship. And if I were to put a space in there, you'll notice that Maya automatically puts an underscore. It doesn't like spaces, and it actually can't have a space in a name, so it has to put an underscore there. Now there's other ways I can name stuff. Like if I select this, maybe, I don't know, this is like the thruster or the exhaust, right? I can go over here in my channel box. I can double click in here, and I can call that, let's say, ship thruster, right? We've already established that this is the trim around the windows, right? Now I want to show you can name things in the attribute editor, but you want to rename the P-Taurus1, not P-Taurus shape 1. And so if I do that, if I rename it here, and I call this ship underscore window trim, you'll see it also renames all of these subsequent nodes here, right? So just make sure you're renaming the first one, not the shaped nodes. This is my ship's main body. So ship underscore body. And there's actually a relatively easy way to rename things too. If you go up here to the top, you should have this area here. By default, yours probably looks like this. But if you click this little box right here, you can change this to rename. And what you'll see is that very quickly I can click here and rename this like ship window glass, right? And it will allow me to rename it that way. This is really handy because we also have these these three things here that are all fins, right? Ship fins, maybe. But it's ship fin 1, 2, and 3, right? Right now I get P cube 1, 2, and 3, but if I select all three of them and I call it ship underscore fin underscore 01, then what it's going to do is it's going to rename them all 01, 02, 03 for me. So that'll allow me to rename things a little faster. And although I know that feels like time wasted, it really wasn't. This is going to make your life so much easier in the future. I will say it is a reason to fire a person. Sloppy naming conventions and things like that have caused people to be not easy to work with, right? Because you may be handing this file off to somebody else later, and they need to figure out what it is you need them to do with it, right? And they don't have time to untangle your mess, right? Even if it's just you working with it, I promise you, just taking the time to name things as you go is really going to make things better for you. So I want to do one more thing before we move on here. I want to make sure that this scene is kind of cleaned up and ready to go. And so some of the things I want to look for is is there history left, or is there, as you see here, if I click on this button here, my fins have a lot of data on there, including like scale data. My ship doesn't, and there's no nodes underneath here, but this still needs a little bit of cleanup. And so what I'm going to do is just everything in the file, and I want to do this early just so I know I'm starting with a clean scene. I'm going to go to Edit, Delete by Type, History, and Modify, Freeze Transformations. And actually, I'll go ahead and delete History again, Edit, Delete by Type, History. Usually I do it the other way around, as I freeze transformations and then delete history afterward. And so now you'll see like those fins, they're much cleaner now, and this is a much cleaner scene. I'm going to go ahead and increment and save. So now I have environment 0001.mb.